Welcome to North of the Broad. I'm Robyn Zimmerman, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for the program, as you know, that we bring to you every week. And we are in downtown Beaufort at the Pat Conroy Literary Center, and it is so appropriate that our first guest is an author, SusanBZurenda. Hey, Susan, how are you?
Robyn, nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
You've written two books. The most recent, The Girl from the Red Rose Motel, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But tell us a little bit about your background.
I live in the upstate of Spartanburg, have lived there for almost 50 years now. I was an English teacher. I actually started out as a newspaper reporter, but I taught English for most of my career. I taught for 33 years, and this new book it's not exactly based on, but it certainly calls on my knowledge of my teaching experience.
Of your teaching, because you taught in community college, and then you actually taught at Spartanburg High School.
Yes.
And this is kind of about a high school.
Yes, a lot of the setting, yes, is in a high school.
Well, so what inspired you to write, first of all, to write your first book, Bells of Eli, and now the second one?
I had always written short fiction from the time I graduated from school, and if something wasn't going on at the newspaper, I always had a story I was working on, and I still have that first story that was not publishable, and it was just way too amateur. And I have had some success with short fiction over the years, winning some things along the way, but I just never felt like I had time with teaching and raising children to write a novel until after I retired. So the basis, or there was a short story called Lost Passage that really was the genesis of Bells for Eli. It had won the South Carolina Fiction Project, and I always wanted to go back and look at that character and think about, well, how did you get where you are in this story? And that was the beginning of that. And The Girl from the Red Rose Motel, as I said, calls on my knowledge of teaching, and I wrote it mostly during COVID.
You did? Mm-hmm. How long did it take you to write it?
I think about a year. It took to write the original manuscript, and then after my agent got it, I ended up cutting I ended up cutting about 14,000 words or something. And it wasn't any particular section. It was just a little bit flabby, I think. And I think I knew that. But so I spent another few months tightening the heck out of it. And I think it's where it needs to be.
And it is going to debut on September the 5th.
It is.
All right. And some events you'll be doing here in Beaufort and Bluffton, actually here at the Pat Conroy Literary Center on, did you say the 18th?
The 19th here at the Pat Conroy Literary Center at 5 o'clock. Please join us. And on the 18th at 10:30 in the morning at the Bluffton Library, I'll be giving a talk. So I'm looking forward to both of those.
So how excited are you particularly about launching this book?
I'm very excited.
And why?
Because two reasons. The protagonist of the book, Hazel Smalls, who is the girl from the Red Rose Motel, lives in a very compromised environment in this old rundown motel. And so many, I think we know about homeless people, but we are not aware of families and children who are the sheltered homeless. And I became aware of this condition through a guidance counselor in my school district who started a nonprofit in Spartanburg to help these families try to save money for deposits to get out of these circumstances. But their rents are just extravagant, nightly, and it's horrific. So I've done a little bit of volunteer work with them and really care about this mission. And the other thing is, there are a lot of openings for teachers in South Carolina. And teaching is I wouldn't change what I did. I would not change my career, but I hope that one day teachers will be appreciated financially and respectfully for the hard and very important work that they do. It's not that they're not appreciated now, they are, but I think we have a ways to go.
Mm-hmm. As I told you, my daughter teaches at Hilton Head High, and I mean, she does it from the heart.
That's right. It's a calling.
It is a calling.
Because if you don't feel that, then there's not enough. It's just become a lot of red tape and Yeah, people don't realize the hours. People used to say, "Oh, you've got a 9-month job," and I went, "Oh,
You have
no.
no idea.
Oh my gosh, no!"
Thank you, Susan, so much for being with us. And
Thank
again,
you, Robyn, so much.
The girl from the Red Rose Motel, your second novel.
Yes.
And we're very excited to introduce it to our viewers, and we'll be right back with
you.
more North of the Broad. Thank you, Susan.